It's the late war one, 45 I think it is.
The WLA, WLC?
Yeah, WLA. So it'll be the 31st of the 1st, 1945. Generally it looks all good. The later engine casings, I'll have to decipher the code on it, but it's definitely post-war. It's got the late front mudguard. I'm not sure whether the back one should look like that without the returns round as well. Can't remember, I'll have to have a look. It's got a forwarding kit on it, which is nice. Lets the engine breathe. It's been put together well. All the like your nice wiring clips and everything are all where they should be. In theory, with the spot lamp or the blackout driving lamp, it should have another relay on it this late. It just doubles up as another relay on there to help the battery charging situation, which we know was always bad on them. Brake pedal bush gone, seat bush gone, seat T bush gone, throttle linkage is all, you can do that by shimming up the end. Just usual wear and tear by the looks of it. That rear crash bar either has been made or broken and beefed up, because that isn't right there. But yeah, it's all there. The original chain oiler's still in it, the rear chain oiler, which is unusual. Most people take them out. Usual Harley carburetor leak, which we can sort out. Later cylinder heads, that hole there was for a tab braided wire that went to a bolt on the bottom of that. If it was a later petrol tank or oil tank, that's for your radio suppression. Exhaust is right. I think it must be a later coil or something. Something isn't right there. I think it's a later coil. I don't think it's a later frame. So they had square lugs welded on them in 46, 47, and that's converted to 3-bolt. But the engine casings are definitely later. It's 358 or 348 or something. Because when it goes to the 3 digits first instead of the 45 so and so and so and so, or 43 so and so and so and so, then it means it's a later frame. But I can't remember when they started doing it. I think it was 47. Wiring looks all original. Petrol tank's been repaired, nothing unusual there. Obviously the carb's leaking. An original spot lamp, blackout lamp bracket, that's original. Seat T, I think they've changed to a long one, which a lot of people do. Just make it even nicer to ride, because the other ones are up so close to the tank. I'll go through all the electrics and make sure it all works. Like I say, I'll have to look at the guy's email quickly and have a look and see what he said. Runs and rides fairly well. Needs the electrics looking at as none work. Okay. Mechanically I think sound, but would like to have compression check on engine. General service ready for next summer. The throttle is a bit slack with a lot of play. Similarly, the advance and retard twist is a bit lazy and you have to move the points housing by hand. Front brake cable could do with changing and speedo doesn't work. Timing and valve check would be great. Needs a new fuel tap. Seat bushes need changing. So that's pretty much what we said, wasn't it? That all sounds acceptable, you know. New brake cable, that's just a part. We'll try and get the original one. Yeah, it's busted there, look. Once they go like that, see it? See that?
Yeah.
When you pull it, it just doesn't work properly. They just won't work right. That shouldn't be up in a loop like that. It should come down in a bigger loop down there, which he's got, but adjuster's right. Right, so that one, I don't think that's an issue, mate. We'll just get the bits that he wants. Obviously run through the electrics. It's either the loom is completely bollocksed or it's just something's fallen off somewhere.
Yeah.
The general wire condition doesn't look bad at all. You know, they're not all chafed and horrible, so these, you just take all the wear out once the grip comes off. That big screw just does up in the end. See that gap?
Yeah.
So what I do is I machine up on the lathe very thin brass pieces just to take that gap up.
Yeah.
You can actually buy some washers for them, but that's very stiff, so we'll have a look at the cable on that as well. Free all that up. Probably do something a bit better with that, save it whacking on the bottom of the air filter. Like that is absolutely bollocks. So it'll make it so much nicer to ride.
Yeah.
If all of that stuff is smooth and working as it should do,
100%.
you know. I just need to bend that back out. I mean, the wire's looking all in reasonably good condition, you know. So there's no reason, it'll just be a short somewhere. Something's gone wrong somewhere with it, you know.
But is it quicker just to rewire, or is it quicker to...
No, if the wiring's okay, it'll either... The switches are renowned for being crap anyway, it's just the construction of them.
Yeah.
It's just brass rubs on brass. So if the spring's gone in the back of the switch, that can do it, because you're not arcing across the points, the 2 points it needs.
All I'm
to.
saying is trying to find where that's shorting or whatever.
Nah, they're too basic for that, unless the only thing that can get complicated with it is if the generator's shorting. But apart from that, it's just basic wiring, so you just check it all in, circuit for circuit. Like those headlamps look dull, didn't they? So we'll charge the battery up, make sure that's fully charged, do a drop test on it. That'll be a bad earth somewhere, I think, by the looks of it. Some would say that's wrong, that's a later knob, which you can change. These are wrong. But this I'd leave pretty much as it is. It's a genuine bike, you know. Do your bits that are flapping and wobbling around and sort out the fuel leaks and stuff. Do the compression test, give it a full service. Obviously I'll check all the wheel bearings and all that. It goes, it's not right, but it goes. That's firing on 1 to start with and then picking up on 2. Right, second Harley.
He's not so good.
WLA 42. Non-applicable name pile of crap. Recently imported from Australia. Seems to be running on 1 cylinder. Hand shifter is not aligned, so it only selects second and third. That's probably in the gearbox. Speedo does not work. Then a general check over as the bike supposedly been restored. Gearbox oil had an oil leak on test ride, and a general check. Right. Well, it certainly looks clean enough. I don't like the colour, but that's irrelevant. It's got no scabbard or toolbox holder on it. Silly things on restoration like these.
So this bike has been
restored in Australia apparently.
So properly restored in Australia?
Apparently, but it doesn't run right, so we've got to have a look at that.
So as far as like a restoration is concerned, how good is it, in your opinion?
Brutally honest, not good.
Why?
It's just all your little bits and pieces that should be right aren't right.
Things like what?
Grease nipples are painted. That should be parkerised, that should be parkerised, that should be parkerised, that should be parkerised. They're the wrong bolts, they're the wrong nuts. Can't use those washers, brass washers are horrible. Those U-bolts are wrong, that should be parkerised, that should be parkerised. Gearbox oil leak, I don't know, we'll have to have a look and see. They're metric nuts in there, they should be dome heads with slots. Something's wrong there. That should have taller risers underneath it. Obviously it's missing the nomenclature plate. Speedo's wrong. Got the wrong exhaust box on it. That's a civilian one. That should come straight out. That blows it down, and I was worried. I changed them to straight out because blowing dust up when they were riding them.
Yeah.
Probably have to take the top of the gearbox off and have a look at that, because that doesn't feel right. Again, all your usual play. Brake pedal bush has had it. But basically the wrong colour and the wrong nuts and bolts. So just, I think, stripped it down and just painted it all as a job lot, you know. I mean, if you want to get down to the nitty gritty, it should have parkerised spokes and painted rims. You can go on and on and on and on and on with all the bits that should be parkerised or zinc plated and all that sort of stuff, you know.
So apart from parkerised nuts and bolts,
I mean, all the general parts are there. That's a correct crash bar. See the difference between them there and there, look? See, the other one's probably been dropped, busted, and they've welded a plate on the top. If you're going to do it right, then it will be a take it apart and do it right. But if he just wants us to get it going, fair enough. Engine numbers, nice on that. Right, that's a genuine 1943 casings. So that's a wartime engine. It's got the correct wiring clips on there, whereas the other one hasn't. Actually, they are correct, but they shouldn't be parkerised. There should be a different shade of green. Those clamps are wrong. Frame's been drilled out for larger bolts on those, which is just, if it was worn out, it's what they did, you know. You want to start getting technical, they're not the right lamps. So you've got one CB and one guide. They're all the same, but you're whoever's anal enough to, you know, like your rivet counters, they should be guides. See, that's got a hole there for the wiring clip there. And gnome, so it's probably a different tail section off of another mudguard. Not one of the nicest speedo faces I've seen.
No.
That one's original, I think, I'm not sure.
And it's gone no miles, this bike.
0 miles. I think the face has been replaced, but the speedo underneath is genuine. Somebody was telling me, you see the lines there? Two lines that come around the centre. If they go all the way into the recessed bit,
yeah,
apparently that's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a much different speedo, isn't it? You've got your big number, you know, your 4 numbers there instead of your 2, 3.
Yeah, it's
might have to possibly do another fuel tap on this one. What you do is take it off the carburettor and see how much is dripping out of it. Sometimes you can ream them in, but the worst thing you can do on one of these is try and crank that up. I mean, that's open anyway, so there's no wonder that's been leaking. If you leave them open, they will leak. But if you over tighten them, it's all it is a bar with a hole in it, and then a hole going that way.
yeah.
If you over tighten them, that inherently is its weakest point.
Yeah.
Because there isn't a lot of metal there. You do that, and it stretches it, and you can never do them up tight enough to seal the little cone in the bottom. I don't think they're the cheapest thing in the world to get, but obviously that is leaking like a good one, so best to do it, you know. It's all wrong, shouldn't have shrink wrap on there. Yeah, it's silly little things. You can go on and on and on. Like these should be parkerised. Your cups in the frame should be zinc coated. I mean, the seat's wrong, we know that. Oil pump's got a slight leak on it by the looks of it. That isn't right. You know, this should be parkerised. You can go on and on with all that, you know. That's got an adjustable high-speed needle in it, which shouldn't be in there. That should be blocked off on an M88 linker. And you have a number 53 jet in the bottom of the carburettor, which is a permanent fixed high-speed jet, as opposed to a needle seat like that. So if you've got that in there and the jet in it,
Yeah.
it's never going to run right, because that needle needs to be seated all the way down with the fixed jet in.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're letting fuel in all over the place. So that could be an issue with it. The most worrying thing on that, I would say, is you can't get it in first gear. So it is either adjustment or they put the gearbox in wrong, the tumble roller on the gearbox. Yeah. If you've got to get so much throw on that to get it into first gear, yeah, your neutral will end up being back down here somewhere, and you won't then get, you'll get second, but you won't get third. It's only got to be one tooth out on that roller cog,
Yeah.
and that'll do it. That cable's too short, it should have a clip there. This is correct, but it should be further down there. The jiffy spring's either busted or not working on the side stand. No.
No signs of life.
No signs of life there.